ready? Welcome back to Babu's frickin' podcast. Thanks so much for joining us in our galaxy far, far away. My name is Mike Chiati Ruby. As always, I'm joined by our Jedi Council, Mark, the Grand Moff Valentine, and Brian Joe Yao Zali, who are live together in the same room. It's like long-awaited Boba Fett and Din Djarin team up. Guys, how are you?
Go ahead, man. This is insane.
Hey, everyone.
Yeah, it's very interesting having to do this with someone sitting next to you. It's kind of like, what do I do with my hands? But hi, everybody.
I love you. You guys were so chatty before we went live, and all of a sudden, it's like red light panic hits you. Like who is this guy sitting next to me? Do I know him?
It's true. Like you spend so much time staring at the window, seeing someone in the window, and now like the person's like sitting right next to you, and you're like, oh, I have to be social.
You've been waving through a window, so to speak.
I have been waving through a window. Good call, man. Can we get Ben Platt on this show? I would like that very much.
Only if he can bring that haircut with him. Like that's a Star Wars haircut from the Dear Evan Hansen movie.
That is a Muppet haircut. I like that. Right?
It is a Muppet haircut. I am very disoriented. Like I'm used to staring at my face. It's the neon Mickey Mouse. Like it's the neon Mickey Mouse that makes me feel comfortable. And a peek behind the curtain a little bit. My family just got home and they just wandered through the same room that we are broadcasting from. So I'm a little bit disoriented at the exact moment. But let's talk Obi-Wan and Boba Fett, man. Let's do it.
Let's get in. So quick piece of business. Thank you everyone who's joining us here live. This is obviously a special broadcast coming in same day as the Book of Boba Fett finale. So thank you so much for being here, and anyone who's tuning in after the fact when this has been posted, please like, subscribe, share if you like what you hear. The Book of Boba Fett may be over, but we will continue to be podcasting every other week, as well as picking up on a weekly basis again when we start getting a new series. And what a day for Star Wars, guys. We had a huge drop today, a sonic drop, if you will. Do we miss it? Wow, that fizzled, man. There we go. Our timing is off. Let's start with Kenobi, fellas. May the 25th be with you. We have a drop date for the Obi-Wan Kenobi series. That poster is pretty spectacular with Obi-Wan walking towards us with the twin sons of Tatooine behind him as he comes across the desert. Looking very much like the fan trailers that were made from when Ewan McGregor was playing Jesus. Guys, what do you think?
Well, this is the show that I waited for. This is the show that I've wanted. Not that I wasn't happy to get Boba Fett, not that I'm not going to be happy to get Andor, but I think that I can speak for most of us. Obi-Wan is kind of that's the stake to the Star Wars lineup. So let's get it going, please.
It's my number 2. Ahsoka is still my number 1 and probably will forever be my number 1 until we get Ahsoka. But like I almost called May the 4th. I'm really bummed that it's not coming out on May the 4th. Like, to be 100% honest, May 25th is as good as you can do, though, with the 45th anniversary of the release of A New Hope. So I get it.
So what do you think? Well, guys, what do you think we get on May the 4th? If we're not getting Obi-Wan, what do we get for May the 4th on Disney Plus?
Remember Disney Plus Day where we got the Marvel thing thinking it was going to be a massive deal, and it was like 11 minutes, and half of that was the car chase scene from Hawkeye? Like, I think Disney's very comfortable in just giving us opening scenes for TV shows. I think we'll get the first 3 minutes of Kenobi, and that'll be it. I think it's kind of late in the game for a trailer. It might be the opening scene and then a sizzle reel, but I don't think we're going to get that much on May the 4th, and I'm kind of bummed about it. I hope it's not the finale day for Moon Knight. Like, I hope they don't clear I hope that we're not celebrating Moon Knight the same day that May the 4th is happening.
Now they're dropping 2 episodes of Moon Knight on that last day too, right?
It's not officially confirmed. It's supposed to drop with 2 on March 30th, but it's not officially confirmed. So if it only premieres with 1 and it runs for 6 weeks, its 6th episode will be on May 4th.
So you'd have Moon Knight on Star Wars Day.
Correct.
Awkward.
I'll tell you what's not awkward.
Oh, Dameron just might say somehow it just might happen.
Somehow it came back. incredibly good news. My segue. I had a good segue there, Mark. We lost the segue.
I'm sorry.
The other good Kenobi news. I shared with you guys last night. A number of sources are reporting that Rupert Friend, who is on Homeland among many other things, he's brilliant as Peter, the Black Ops guy on Homeland. He has apparently been cast as the Inquisitor. So we had fan cast the Inquisitor several months back. I think Mark had said smartly that it should be the same actor as who does the voice. But I got to tell you, Rupert Friend looks like the animated version, and he's wicked good. I'm very excited about this potential casting news. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, it works. There's not much that's happened by the way of casting that I have disagreed with. I mean, aside for the weekly plug of Sebastian Stan that I need to be as a younger Luke Skywalker, but even the fact that they've de-aged, the actors, and they've done stuff with CGI, it's worked. I mean, I trust what Filoni and Favreau and the team at Lucasfilm and Kathleen Kennedy are doing in terms of who they're casting for these roles. So, yeah, I mean, I'm in.
I was holding out hope. I love the character of the Grand Inquisitor. I was holding out hope for, is it Jonathan Isaacs? Jason
Isaacs.
He's for those of you that don't know him, he's Draco Malfoy's dad in the Harry Potter movies. He's the voice of the Grand Inquisitor in Star Wars Rebels. I was kind of holding out hope for him to play the Grand Inquisitor, but Rupert Friend looks the part far more. So I'm completely good with it. As long as we're getting the character of the Grand Inquisitor, I honestly don't care who it is as long as it's true to the character.
This whole cast is looking great. I mean, they've got the original Owen and Beru from Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones, and I guess Revenge of the Sith are all coming back. Obviously, they've got Hayden Christensen coming back as Darth Vader. They have O'Shea Jackson Jr., aka Ice Cube's son, who played Ice Cube, among a number of other roles. I think he's really solid. Khalil Najani's going to be in it. We've got really cool actors coming in. I'm stoked to see what we get. And then, obviously, Ewan.
Yeah, I mean, Star Wars and Marvel are it's all the rage right now in Hollywood. So, I mean, if you want to get on the A list, it's what you do. You do these science fiction and comic book properties. I mean, that's what people are. They're trying to book work because then it leads to other things. It gets them on a lot of people's radar. So smart on their part.
And it may not be a Jon Favreau, Dave Filoni thing. Dave Filoni's still creative director, but Deborah Chow, who directed one of the best episodes of The Mandalorian season 1, episode 3, she is directing this entire series. So I think that's a massive deal.
She's awesome. That episode is absolutely killer.
See that?
Disney Fanatics is saying we're getting R2-D2 in Galaxy's Edge again. News is that a prediction or is that real? Either way, if you're breaking news, we would love to see R2-D2 in Galaxy's Edge again.
We need more droids. I've said like a billion times. That's the one thing that's really missing from Galaxy's Edge right now. There's no droids. We were supposed to have free flowing and free moving droids throughout the land. You need R2-D2. We need like R5. We need droids
to match up all the footprints, if nothing else. But Chewbacca doesn't even roam around. I haven't seen Vi in a long time either. So definitely let us know, Disney Fanatics, if that's actual news that is being reported, or if that's just a guess for May the 4th. I hope it's real.
What is up to Derek from the Satisfactual Sign Company? Jared is here. We are again live streaming this, so thank you to everyone who's joining us live. Thank you so much for checking this episode out with us. While we were just so excited, we're like, we have to go live on Wednesday. And we got to talk this show.
Yeah, so let's get into it. Book of Boba Fett, episode 6, the season, perhaps series finale, but perhaps series finale, definitely the season finale. Title of this episode is In the Name of Honor. Guys, I've been reading some mixed reactions to the episode online. We've had a little bit of our own back chatter about this throughout the day. So I'll go back to Brian's favorite question that he's taken from our dear friends at Cold Stone Creamery. With this episode, like it, love it, or gotta have more of it? Brian, you're hosting today. We're in your home. Mark is literally in your home. What do you think? Like it, love it, gotta have more of it?
I like a third of it. I love a third of it, and I gotta have a third of it. So the average comes out to I love it. The stuff that we got from that was in the Mandoverse, for lack of a better term, the Din Djarin stuff, episode 5 and 6, start to finish, as fantastic as anything Star Wars has done in a very, very long time. Parts of the Book of Boba Fett, specifically the train heist, a lot of the stuff with Fennec Shand really, really worked for me. It really bums me out that there was one person that had 3 directing credits on 7 of these episodes, and in my opinion, it's the weakest. All 3 are the 3 weakest of the show, in my personal opinion. If you're talking about seeing mixed reviews for this episode, that could just be my brain alone, because the mixed reviews are all over the place for me.
Yeah, well, the mixed reviews are, you're not the only one kind of feeling that way, or specifically calling out Senor Rodriguez as a director, in terms of his ability as it pertains to Star Wars projects. And I misspoke. It is episode 7, not episode 6. I simply am I'm not reading very well at this hour of the day. Mark, I'm still distraught from Boba Fett riding a Rancor. What do you think, man? Like it, love it, gotta have more of it.
All right, so I'll probably be the controversial vote on this. I have seen the episode 3 times. It started with love it, and then the more that I did rewatch the show, I have worked my way towards gotta have more of it. And for this reason, I mean, like, I'm in. Whenever there's Star Wars of this caliber, I inherently want more of it. There's a lot more that I want from Boba Fett. There's a lot more that I want from Fennec Shand. Nobody said series finale. Nobody really said season finale. I want more of it. I want more Boba. I do not want Boba to then slip back into obscurity. I need to have these characters. I know that we're going to get into the fact that we're not going to get more of Cad Bane. That was the thing that I honestly did not love. I think that character is just so intriguing. I think he has become such a big part of Star Wars canon. We were like so excited. We finally get him last week and he gets killed. I can live with, and when we get into talking about how he dies, I can get over that and I can live with it. But I just want more of this universe right now. And I'm not going to be able to unplug next week. I need more Star Wars. I'm depressed. So I got to have more of it, man. It's Star Wars.
Yeah, I'm with you on the gotta have more Star Wars. I think as it particularly pertains to this episode and how it ends, I think I lean probably a little bit more to where Brian is. I think I'm on the borderline of like it and love it, especially because the last 2 episodes I've just been insane watching, and I think I followed Brian on this. Like, I gotta have more. I gotta have more cowbell. I need more Din. I need more Grogu. I need more of this Mandoverse, as you like to call it, Mark.
Yeah.
I don't know that I need more Boba Fett. And I hate to say that, but I really left this episode going, you know what? Groovy. I think he's good there. I don't know the way that they've left him in his characterization. He's kind of gone through his arc, and they gave him his complicated yet happy ending, and I'm satisfied with that. I don't know what else, if he's the mayor, is he gonna like leave and go out into the galaxy to help reclaim Mandalore when he has his own tribe now and is a well-respected, and dare I even say beloved godfather to Mos Espa and the people of Tatooine.
Well, I mean, even Cad Bane pokes fun at that and says you've gone soft in your old age. I mean, a lot of the criticisms that people have been levying against Boba Fett throughout the course of the series, like Cad Bane got those zingers in their duel. Like, you've gotten soft, like, who are you? Like, even like he says to him at one point, like, what's your end game here? I mean, and that's something that I think we've all been asking for this series is like, to what end? Like, why is Boba Fett doing all of this? And it wasn't really clear throughout the course of the series. It was what I think frustrated so many people. We didn't know who Boba Fett was. And I would argue even at the end of this, yeah, he's the mayor of the town, but still, who is Boba Fett? If Din Djarin calls upon him again, is he going to hesitate to pick up the fight and join the cause? Because I don't know who this guy is even still. And that's why I got to have more of it. I need to know still more about the man behind the mask. I did not get enough. 2 episodes of 7 were not even spent with him. So we need more. And I need that more from him.
I'm super frustrated by, I think, I know I've spent the last 2 weeks of this show saying I don't care about the name of the show, but when we were leading up to this show, it was called The Book of Boba Fett. We got an appendix. We didn't get a book whatsoever. Like maybe to call it an appendix may be unfair, but it's not The Book of Boba Fett. I want to explore the history of the person, who the man is. I would have loved to have seen a flashback. If we're going to talk flashbacks, why don't we go flashback to Cad Bane and Boba when they were younger, in their younger days, the mentor thing, all that kind of stuff. And can I just get on my Disney soapbox for a minute? Stop with the episode recaps. Knock it off. Like, we're going to get, I want to ride the Rancor. Like, it's coming. Like, just stop giving the episode away with the recaps. Like, I know the skip button's there, but still, most people don't use the skip button. Stop spoiling the episode.
They really do telegraph those,
It's
don't
awful.
They telegraph the hell out of them. It's like whatever they put in that recap, it's like, oh, well, the Rancor's coming now. But I mean,
we knew the Rancor was coming, though. If you've been paying attention.
But don't tell me, like, just don't tell me. And like, let's get into the actual episode. There's a few other things that really don't work for me. There's a few other things that really, really do work for me as well. I'm not completely down on this episode. I'm just underwhelmed.
Yeah, I'm not totally down on it either. I've watched it not as many times as Mark, but I've gotten through the whole episode more than once. There's great, amazing stuff, and then there's stuff that I just kind of still leaves me wanting.
Eric just said Boba on the Rancor firing the knee darts was so amazing, though. I mean,
yeah. Well, let's get in. I mean, I think the episode starts, and here's where I think I take issue with what you were just saying, Brian. I don't take issue with you. I take issue with the series. Is the entire plot of the series could have been done in a 2-hour movie, right? Like, the way that this thing stretched out, the fact is Boba doesn't actually do all of that much in present day. He has his flashbacks, and then he essentially has like 3 or 4 scenes in present day, and then he goes to war. And the entire finale is them going to war. And so I'm with you, Brian. Like, even if we didn't go backwards for the past chapters, I would have liked to have seen the political intrigue and the kind of one-upsmanship of him and Fennec against the other gangsters take up more of the series instead of all of that time in flashback, very little time developing him now. And then, we went away for 2 episodes with Grogu and Din, which I love. Don't ever take that away from me. But it ultimately never gave Boba anything in this series. I mean, am I touching on anything that resonates for you guys?
Yeah, definitely for me. Like, if you go back to our preview episode of talking about the show, we predicted live action Cad Bane. We didn't predict him in the current day format. The other things that I get frustrated is even in those times where we were going flashbacks, we got very interesting stuff of the baby Rancor and Danny Trejo and the twins. Like, the fact that the twins just genuinely just left, like we just take them at their word and they're just gone. Like, hey, you should leave because these families will turn on you. Like, the twins was the biggest one where I look back on with just regret of dreaming what was to come.
I think what we anticipated for the show, this was nothing like what we had expected. We thought this was going to be a true anthology of the life of Boba Fett, to reveal the man that has been mysterious for 4 decades. We got none of that. We truly got none of that. What we got was the contemporary. I think I just kicked the light out. Like, we're having some technical issues.
The hazards of going it live.
Hazards of going live. I literally just kicked the light out with my foot. My apologies to everyone. Now that I look like this, this is how I look when I'm not well lit. But we didn't get anything that we expected from the show. We essentially got the contemporary Boba Fett and the immediate past of Boba Fett. It was cool. there were some great episodes in that. I will still stand here and tell you, like, the episode that we got, the train heist, was something incredible. Like, that's one of the best episodes of anything that we've ever gotten. There were 2 other episodes of this series that were some of the best television that I think we've ever had in Star Wars. Consequently, though, it had nothing to do with Boba Fett. So it's hard for me. At some point, like, I agree with Brian, where Brian's like, I don't care what the show is called. Just give me good Star Wars and I don't care. But I also feel somewhat robbed and gypped by the fact that we came into this wanting more of Boba Fett. We did not get, I think so many of us. And if I had to qualify why so many people are disappointed, if that's even the right word to use, the disappointment to me comes from they expected Boba Fett and they didn't get what they were expecting.
Yeah, I mean, that's weird. I mean, we did get a lot of what we expected, though, to be fair to it. Like, we learned about how he got out of the Sarlacc and we got his entire journey. We learned how he got kind of crafted through that. We got him doing this whole Godfather 2 routine that was hinted at throughout the trailers. It just stayed very surface level.
So who's Mo Green in this situation? Because there was a lot of like family business getting cleaned up in this episode. Who is Mo Green? Is that
yeah? No, I mean, what's bizarre about it? I mean, it's really backwards. I mean, he's more like Luca Brasi. He got choked out.
He did. He sleeps
he sleeps with the fishes,
and the fishes be the pikes.
Yeah,
fishes.
Talk about unearned villains. Like, the pikes ended up meaning nothing. We got one of the coolest posters in Star Wars, and the pikes didn't even crack the poster, and they were the main villain of the entire series.
Well, again, that's my whole point, is they didn't build up the present day at all, and they spent 2 of the best episodes of anything ever in Star Wars, but that was 2 whole episodes away from developing the plot with Boba and his villains.
But the fact that they didn't build up the pikes was why I was so certain that the pikes were not the ultimate villain of this show. That's why I was certain we were getting Crimson Dawn, because I'm like, there's no way that the pikes are the big bad. We haven't built them up enough. They haven't been given enough to do. They don't, like you said, they don't even make the poster. It leaves you feeling empty when they're victorious over the pikes, because the pikes haven't really done anything to earn that disdain. Good villains make a series, not just good heroes. Good villains. They were not great villains. But that's something that we've talked about in a lot of shows now on Disney Plus. We talked about that with Falcon and the Winter Soldier. The Flag Smashers were awful villains in that show. And that show could have been so much better if the Flag Smashers presented good villains.
Mephisto was an awful villain too.
Mephisto was he's still an awful villain. Everyone, maybe Mephisto is behind all of this stuff going on in Star Wars.
Something in the shadows, elusive,
something
as Obi-Wan might say.
Dark side.
Can I
dark side?
Can I hijack the conversation just a little bit by Anthony saying, do you guys feel that this entire series was strictly fan service? I don't personally think that's fair, but I'd love to have that conversation if that's okay, Mike.
Of course. I mean, and since you asked me, I'll answer it too. I don't think it was strictly fan service. I think we got some amazing fan service, but no, I think they genuinely advanced the Star Wars narrative for Din Djarin and Grogu. And I think they did a little bit of advancement for Boba. So I think they actually did quite a lot to get me really stoked for season 3 of Mando.
Yeah.
And I think they did a little bit of fan service and a little bit of plot advancement and satiation as it pertains to Boba.
That's accurate. I mean, that's accurate. I mean,
all right, I'm gonna hang up then. I got my one thing right. Good
there
night,
it is.
y'all. It's been good.
No, I mean, the one thing that this series did do really well for me is I realized we didn't get him on screen for that long. Cad Bane was a really wonderful addition to the live action universe.
Cad Bane was awesome,
albeit for an episode and a quarter. But
maybe
the screen time,
we'll get him in Andor.
The screen time that he got was really fulfilling for the 3 of us, because we've watched the Clone Wars. He's a very fleshed out villain, and there's a lot of history that goes there. If I were someone who had just picked up with Cad Bane, I would be really ticked off, to be completely honest with you, because I'm like, now there is an interesting villain, and he is dead. And I mean, I think it was Anthony before who was like, are we sure he's dead? I thought that too until they panned over his body. The way that they framed his body, it was pretty much to say, this is the last time you're going to see him. Goodbye, Cat. And if I were a new fan and I'm like, this guy is amazing, and he's gone, I'd be pretty ticked off.
That's the other thing is to call it strictly fan service. I don't necessarily agree with, because the one that had the most fan service stuff in it was a Mandalorian episode that everybody just absolutely loved, from an N1 Naboo starfighter to the catalytic converter that they use in the trash compactor. Like, all that kind of stuff was very fan service-y, and in my opinion done very fair. Anthony says he thinks that's fair. He doesn't have the knowledge that we have with the big cameos of Bane, Black Chrysanthemum, Luke, Ahsoka, and stuff like that, but they were all still heavy hitters. Like, that's, if you're going to call last week fan service, like, I would watch fan service the TV show, A Star Wars Story. Like, if we're just constantly getting Luke and Grogu and Ahsoka and Cad Bane and everybody, like, if that's what we're just going to consider straight fan service rather than interesting narrative, then sure, it was all fan service. But I don't think a lot of the fans are overly thrilled with the show, all things considered.
No, well, but again, I mean, Mark and I use the term all the time. Fan service done well. Fan service done well is in service of the narrative. So I don't think last week was just purely a fan service explosion, because it was in service of the larger narrative of what happens with these characters. There were emotional stakes. There were changes in how these people saw their universe and how they proceeded. So
let's give credit to the creatives of this too. Some of it wasn't fan service. We got some really good deep cuts. Black Chrysanthemum was a really great deep cut.
Tashi Station
was and Cam and Fixer were a really great deep cut. That stuff wasn't fan service in as much as it was just a way to give the fans the things that they have been reading and they've been loving for years. I mean, fan service is giving Chewie a medal when people wanted him to get a medal. That's fan service. What I think we got in this series was expanding the lore, looking at the Star Wars universe in a way that we really have not done. The series wasn't a bad series. I just think that it was unexpected. What we thought we were going to get and what we actually got, there was some dissonance in that.
Well, let's talk about that though. Before we keep talking about the things that were disappointing, like, let's give a nod to all of the new introductions that were great. Like, I know I may be in the minority. I love the Mod Squad. I think they're a totally new, interesting, different thing. I dig the Mod Squad. Brian's like, no Mod Squad.
Dude, when the red Power Ranger ducked from under Black Chrysanthemum and did his little spin to shoot the thing down, like, I wanted to gouge my eyeballs out.
Go Power Rangers.
The mods didn't bother me. I don't love them. I don't hate them. I'm ambivalent.
I love the mods that are Cobb Vanth rehabilitation.
Yes.
Not Cobb Vanth refrigeration, but Cobb Vanth and Fennec Shand. Those are the mods I like. I do not care for the others.
I just like the fact that we have the Black Eyed Peas doing mods in the universe for
dude. When the credit scene came up, I was like, will.i.am's getting it started, yo.
Run in.
Thundercat.
Oh,
it is not will.i.am, but I'm sorry. I won't let it go. I will never let it go. I love it.
I like the mods. I like all of the crime families that were there. I like the twins. I like that we got Chrysanthemum realized. I love that we got Cad Bane realized. I love that how they built out the Mandalorian lore.
Yeah.
And really said, Paz Vizsla, who he is, and where they went with that. The beginnings of Luke's Jedi Academy. I mean, there's the actual Rancor killing the Sarlacc pit monster, getting inside the culture of the Tusken Raiders. Like, there's so much here that's great.
King Kong ain't got nothing on that Rancor. That's all I'm going to say.
Ain't got nothing on me. Let's just jump ahead. Like, let's not ignore the 10,000-pound Rancor in the room. Boba rode the Rancor, and guys, it was every bit as satisfying as I hoped it would be.
You know, I didn't know what it was going to look. I'll be honest. I didn't know what it was going to look like when I thought a few episodes when he's like, basically says, I'm going to ride that thing. I'm going, how's it going to look? It's going to,
the dimensions of the Rancor were not consistent. That was my
No, that was exactly what I was going to say, Brian. I said he looked bigger in this episode than when he was lying down. I mean, like, do his legs like tuckle up under him when like a dog, like when he's loafing?
He's a grower, not a shower.
But then he looked bigger from the back where you saw his like spikes from behind the building, and then he comes over the building and his hand is massive. And then Grogu puts him to sleep and he's like kind of the size we saw before. Like he was consistently like, honey, I blew up the kid, like going back and forth kind of stuff. Like I was fine with the Rancor stuff, but I'm going to be 100% honest. The stuff with the giant droid decals went way too long. And the stuff with the rampaging Rancor went way too long. And consistent with Robert Rodriguez, he did this in the episode of The Mandalorian in season 2, episode 6. One, I get super frustrated when Boba and Fennec are talking to Mando and tell him to put the gun down, and then all of a sudden out of nowhere it becomes put the jetpack down, so Din no longer has his jetpack, so he can't chase after Grogu when the dark troopers come. Like, makes no sense whatsoever, and we just have to deal with it. But then Din Djarin, who's one of the smartest bounty hunters we know, constantly trying to break the force field that Grogu is inside of, will not give up. Same thing happened with the droid decals in this episode, where everybody is trying to just constantly do the exact same thing that doesn't ever work. Like, and we spent 20 minutes trying to do the same thing to break them down. Like, finally the Rancor shows up, we get the Darksaber. That was super satisfying, but for me, it could have been tightened up. That's all that I ask, because I think the action was okay, droid darts and everything, some questionable CGI, but for the most part, I'm fine with those decisions. It just went on way too long.
I needed a Nemoidian just saying, bring me those droidicas. That's the only thing that was missing for me.
You read my mind. You read my mind. Like, they showed up on screen and all I could hear was, where are those droidicas?
They were cool.
They were cool.
Drawn out a little too long. I will completely agree. But I thought that whole sequence for me was just really drawn out. Not just like them battling the droidicas, but like the planned retreat, and then like them going into like that little Alamos. Like the whole thing to me just seemed it was protracted.
We can't go back any further. This is the end of our set.
This is it. This is the end of the set. I cannot go anymore. We're just going to run out of set. So we're going to stand on this wall. And
yeah, it was a little silly. But it also, again, goes back to a couple weeks ago. We talked about the influence of episode 2. These droids were straight out of the prequels. Obviously enlarged quite a bit. But again, we saw more and more prequel influence in this. I really liked everything about the Rancor, even though the scene was protracted. I liked that, like, they couldn't chill him out afterwards. Like, it's like when your dog gets the zoomies and it's like you gotta like wait and get him to chill it out.
Yep.
They just didn't have Black Widow. Like, they ultimately, that's what Grogu played Black Widow. Sun's getting a little low. They just didn't have anybody to chill him out afterwards, and because he had imprinted with Boba, like, there was nobody else to calm him down. Like, so, as much as Din was like, oh, well, my Mando brethren has ridden him, now so shall I. And Rancor was like, no, homie, don't play that, and just threw him away.
Dude, for 2 weeks in a row, though, Pelimoto was like comedic genius.
She was good in this episode. I still reached levels of annoyance that I didn't get 2 weeks ago that I got in Mando.
No way, man. Her giving the Major Domo like a quick nod, and then when he's saying something, she's like, basically, don't stop flirting with me, even though he wasn't. She was really good.
She spit her tooth out. That was friggin' hilarious.
Spit her tooth out. It killed me.
Yeah, she spit her tooth out. She had the great line that was like, what's your name? Grogu? Well, that's a terrible name. That's a terrible name. I'm not going to call you that, which is basically like, yes, that is a terrible name. We're going to all continue to call you Baby Yoda like we all do. That was her. That was Mike. That was fan service.
That was fan service. That was perfectly meta.
That was meta. And so
speaking of the Major Domo, again, for me, stole the episode. Becca, I went to finishing school on Coruscant. Not to say that I'm any better than any of you. Like, everything about his deliveries, his facial expression when the Rancor was like coming at him and Pelimoto, his delivery, when he goes out to give the terms, and he's called a tailhead,
Not
which
my word.
apparently is
Not my words.
not my words.
I love when he just does my favorite line that he does every week. Apologies. I love the way he delivers that line. I'm gonna just start using that in my professional life when I screw up at work, and I'll just go to like my manager. Apologies.
Well, isn't he in Veep? Isn't he married to
I think so.
What's her name from Seinfeld?
Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
Yeah, that's her.
Yeah.
I just call her Val. Don't call me Val. But like the Major Domo was actually, he aged for me a little bit better. Amy brings it up in the comments when Grogu force jumps into Din's arms. That was fantastic. But I will say, when Din says, it reminded me of Guardians of the Galaxy, where Quill is like, "Hey, they got my message," and like, you got my shirt. Like, he called it a shirt. That was freaking.
Yeah, he called it a shirt.
Hey, you got your shirt. They gave you your shirt. Yeah, that was I don't know. It's just, there were some real weird moments in this episode.
Oh, I got emotional with that. I legit got emotional when they had their reunion. I was surprised. I was more emotional with that reunion than I was with any of the heartstringy stuff in last week's episode.
I told Brian this, and I just want to bring this up. I'm probably wrong on this. I just don't. Do you really think that Luke would just plop him in Red 5 with R2D2, being such a strong Force user, and just say like, all right, drive him back to Tatooine, go find Lando?
It's R2. It's R2, man. Absolutely.
It's not just R2. I mean, Luke is the most powerful Jedi that's ever been. I think he's literally got enough foresight to know that everything's going to be okay, and to trust the universe and trust his instincts.
I just picture Luke throwing a fit, like where Grogu picks the shirt and Luke's like, "Fine, get out of here, go." And R2.
I saw a great comic. It's funny you say that. I saw a great comic on Twitter a little while ago where the two of them are sitting opposite each other, and Grogu is talking to Luke, and he's like, "Okay, so you're telling me my options can be that I can go with this man who I really love and has taken care of me and protected me and is giving me this badass shirt, or I can take this sword that belongs to your weird dead friend that I don't know and forego all of my relationships and hang out with you and I don't even know you." And Luke looks back at him and just goes, "Well, you don't have to be a dick about it."
Dude, that's amazing. That's amazing. It's so spot on.
It's just so perfect.
Josh says they played it so casual that Grogu took the armor. Yeah, it was. It was downplayed. It wasn't a big part of the episode.
Because I think we're gonna get more of Luke at some point. Like, Luke's gonna be. It's gotta.
I wouldn't discount that Grogu has Yoda's lightsaber under his robes.
I expected to see it at some point.
I thought it was coming out.
I thought it was going to come out. So the fact that it didn't, I don't know if he has it. But like I said, I'm going to live in a world where Luke's just throwing a fit, and R2 was just like the cool mom who's like taking the teenage kid home drunk. Like,
yeah. So on my third watch through, just as a really gross out thing, I don't know if you caught this the first time that you guys watched, but he's eating something called dung worms.
A dung worm, yeah.
That does not sound good. She's like, go rustle up some dung worms. I'm like,
oh,
I'm pretty sure that dung in any universe is what we think it is. And dung worms would be the things that inhabit said dung. And then Grogu is like eating them like them be vittles for him. I was completely
slimy yet satisfying.
It's satisfying.
At what point does poo graduate to dung?
I think after 2 days. So
okay.
That's poodoo that's been sitting for at least a period of 2 days. Then after a while, you stop calling it poo, and there's dung on the floor. Somebody clean that up. But it thoroughly grossed me out. And I had like Austin Powers vibes when he was like drinking the coffee, and he's like, "It's nutty, Basil."
Mike, you can take us back to the outline. Go ahead.
Sorry, guys.
No, I mean, the next thing, I mean, we started talking about it. I thought Grogu stole the episode. Like, I thought there were lots of really cool things there, but for me, his reunion with Din was way more touching and emotional than I expected, especially given that it happens like you said, it's like a Guardians moment. Like it's an emotional moment within a moment of tension and action. His reactions to everything, his use of the Force. So we didn't know if maybe he was going to crush that giant droid decar, but he does his little, I'm going to grab the iron ball technique, and he just pulls one bolt out. But then he actually does more work, and then he tames the Rancor.
Well, and it was very much shades of Carl Weathers in the Taika episode with season 1, episode 8, where he's like, do the magic hand thing. Like you're expecting Grogu to come in and save the day. And he kind of does, but he doesn't like get all the way there. I was getting very much like do the magic hand thing vibes.
What have we learned today, gentlemen? That Rancors are amazing. Yeah, we got the Wilhelm scream when the Rancor.
Dude, that Rancor did some munching and he did some tossing.
Well, he yeeted that guy across the map. He was like, "Yeet, see ya."
I don't know what that means.
I don't know. My daughter can explain it. I believe that yeeting is when the kid. It's what the kids call it. It's like when you just irreverently throw something without any cause or there's no motivation. You just yeet it.
I had to look that up on the Urban Dictionary. That's how old I am.
Yeet?
Yeah. I
Be
think it was
careful where you go on that website.
In the
Oh yeah, it's dangerous.
Yeah, in the words of my daughter, like and again, she might be a prophet. This is a direct Bella quote. She says, "In life, you either yeet or you are yeeted." And I was like, Bella, I don't even know what that means, but that sounds amazing.
I just got up to YOLO.
Yeah.
Is this what happens when you record together or on the day of the episode? We're a little bit off topic. Go ahead, Mike.
I'm a little punchy right now. I woke up at 3:00 in the morning to watch this show. Took a 2.5 hour flight here to Florida. We've been walking around all day. I'm a little delirious right now, guys.
No, it's good. This is the fun stuff. The other thing with the Rancor, we joked about him being King Kongy, but he literally had his King Kong moment where he climbed.
He did.
He climbed the tower in Mos Espa. I loved the kind of mixture of him being both a hero as well as being a bit of the monster. Where it's the incredible. It's the Hulk, right? It's like the Hulk is a hero, but the Hulk is also hated because he can't calm down and he wrecks things everywhere he goes. So many stairs.
I did love when Grogu took a nap next to him. Like, I'm still glad that we're still in the napping stage of Grogu getting tired by the Force. I thought that was great.
I loved both of them cuddling up. I thought it was great because, again, once he's calm, the Rancor is a very sweet and kind creature. And obviously, well-trained. Machete is a solid trainer.
Did a good job. Mm-hmm.
Strong stuff. I'll tell you who else is strong. How do you like that segue? Fennec Shand had 3 minutes to shine in this episode and shown she did. That is the first time we've seen her truly be an assassin, and she wrecked shop in Mos Eisley. Her hanging Mok Shaiz was so strange and unsettling yet satisfying. Who knew that Ithorians had big furry elephant feet?
Matched his furry head.
Yeah, I want to know. I need to see that scene a few more times to understand how she was able to do that. It looked like a pretty solid roof. What was she shooting through? I don't know. But like
leverage.
I don't know. She murked like 6 people in a like 4-second span. Like everyone in that room was dead.
Like I was holding out hope though. Like I was holding out hope that there was going to be the Pikes, the mayor, everybody sitting around a holographic table of somebody, and there was nobody. Like, no. And how far apart are Mos Eisley and Mos Espa? Because the main Pike dude traveled quick.
So if you're traveling by the little mopeds that the mod squad use, it's far. But if you have the droid rickshaw, that clearly moves like 6 times the speed of those. Oh, a minute and a half. It's
Mike, please defend the mod squad. They were horrendous in this episode for me. Well, I spent so much emotional investment in me hoping that they lived, and I genuinely didn't care whether they lived or not.
Well, they're not soldiers. I mean, that's the silly thing about them is like.
I think part of it is I'm super bummed that the Gamorreans are long gone.
Well, that was going to be the next thing I said. Was I was going to say, like, for as much as they went out like punks, they deserve to go out like punks. They're not warriors. They're city kids playing at being spies, right? and there are 2 of them that have any worth, and they're the only ones who survived. The other ones all got ganked.
Yeah.
But I was sadder about the Gamorreans getting shoved off the mountainside, especially when you consider that they can fight. Like they barely put up anything. Like those other guys came in like punks and just kind of like shuffled them off the mortal coil.
Well, I can tell you who was very happy that the Gamorreans got killed, and that would be Pelimoto. She was disappointed that there wasn't a Rancor roast, but there was some piggy on the menu that night. So she was pretty happy. I'll tell you that.
Well, also, I don't know if you guys heard, maybe I'm making this up. It sounded like when the Gamorreans went over the cliffside, like their version of the Wilhelm scream actually didn't sound like Gamorreans. It sounded like that same noise that the dragon creature makes in episode 2, the one that's fighting Obi-Wan. It sounded like the same squeal.
That's a cry at dragon yell.
No.
You're talking about in A New Hope?
No. He's talking about in episode 2 in like the Roman arena.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about the big. I'm sorry, I don't remember the name. The big spider thing that Obi-Wan fights.
Apologies. I thought we were talking about the cry at dragon yell from A New Hope. Apologies.
No.
That I'm telling you, that's going to be my new thing now. Whenever I put my foot in my mouth in the show, I'm just going to channel the Major Domo.
But yeah, like we spent way too much time being invested in whether the Mod Squad lived or died. I genuinely just didn't care. Kersantin was cool. I would have loved to have seen him get out from under the Trandoshans.
Me too.
But he just did, which again, I'm super glad he did because Black Kersantin's amazing. But
I think of his nickname. He had a nickname in this episode.
Yeah, what was it?
Santos.
Yeah.
I'm good with it.
That was cool. I like that. I mean, because that's a mouthful. Can you imagine like having to say that every single time? Like Black Kersantin every single time?
Chewbacca? There's no way I'm saying that every time.
I'm not saying that all the time. Yeah. Like it was little things like that.
I don't know. I mean,
I'm totally spent tonight, aren't I? I'm really sorry, guys.
No, I'm gonna keep us on the rails here.
There's one more thing about the Mod Squad that bugged me, if I can get it off my chest.
Go ahead, man.
The fact that the Mod Squad was able to convince Boba to hunker down in a place that absolutely had zero cover and everything was ridiculous to me.
And no strategic value whatsoever.
Not at all.
It's like, hey, you see this place that just got bombed? Yeah, let's here. We make our stand here. Why? I have a monastery that's really easy to defend. No, but the people will be mad if you go out there. Oh, okay, cool. Let's stay right here.
Like
it didn't make a lot of sense strategically. You're right. It didn't make a lot of sense.
Bugged me.
It was symbolic. That they weren't leaving the city.
It was symbolic. Like
it was symbolic. Everything that governed Boba's actions and all of this was symbolic. I'm not leaving the people. I'm not leaving the town. Anything that made him realize. And the other thing that this is going to sound silly, but the other reason, as poor as they are as both strategic and tactical warriors, you know, the one thing about the Mod Squad in this that I liked with them and their interaction with Boba is that again, Boba going to Jack Welch managerial school, he was open to suggestions from his people. And I think it again just showed that he's not going to be an egotistical my way or the highway boss.
Well, I mean, the Mod Squad too supposedly really have the pulse of the people. So to that end, if he's looking to be a man of the people, I think he does defer to them and to their judgment, having lived on the streets and grown up on the streets of Mos Espa, to know what the people are feeling. And I mean, like, if you go by that, like they were right, because at the end, what happens? Like he goes from being a character that is not respected and or feared at the beginning of the series. Oh, everyone keeps telling him, listen, get a litter because no one respects you right now. To the end, he's walking on his own 2 feet and he's saying, man, like, does everyone have to continually bow? Like he's beloved at that point. So
yeah, and
the Mod Squad was right in stay here, fight for them, and then, you know, like defend the people, and then they will love you. They did.
But the way they introduced us to the characters in the Mod Squad is they didn't have the pulse of the people. That the people hated them. So they weren't.
The watermonger hated them.
Yeah, well,
they took a stapler.
I'm on the side of Milton.
So
Boba's the Godfather, though. I mean, you call out him at the end walking through. There are so many Godfather references in this. So that's his Don Chichi moment. Where Don Chichi walks through the streets of Little Italy, and they give him an orange, right?
Yeah. Don't get the orange in the Godfather though. That's a kiss of death.
No, that is the ultimate kiss of death. So
with great power comes great responsibility.
Greg just said, if they cared about the people so much, why didn't the people help? That's a good point. They just were running for cover when that Rancor was running around.
They're not as rough and tumble as the people of Freetown. Sorry, Brian.
No, I was gonna say the people are super just helpless. Like they just are just trying to get by. The people of Freetown were just far more. I mean, they took on a crate dragon. They were kind of more ready, so it worked for me. But again, if it's your finale, I wish the budget was just a little bit bigger too. Like when we talk about the people of Freetown, when the bartender was at the gun, the way that gun exploded was very cheap CGI for me. Like they spent the money on episode 5 and episode 6, which was the best 2 episodes of the show. But if it's your finale, I would love it to look just a little bit more like a spectacle.
Here's where Star Wars runs into a problem. When you have a season finale like you did last year with season 2 of Mando, you're gonna raise the bar and or set the bar. I think a lot of people came into this episode thinking we're going to get some epic level surprise, a la Luke Skywalker. There's going to be something big, grandiose, amazing, because now we've had 2 years with Mando season 1 and Mando season 2, where it seems like it's just getting better and better with the season finales. This one, in my opinion, took a little bit of a step back. Not that it was a terrible season finale, but I think it just didn't live up to the expectations that now we hold for these types of episodes, that we want to treat them like events. We all went into this thinking it was going to be an event. It wasn't an event. It was an episode. It was a good episode, but it wasn't the event that we want.
But
let's be fair. It was an event. I think the problem is it's being overshadowed by all these other things that just make us go, I wish that had been better. Like if we had started out, if we went back to, you guys mentioned earlier, our kind of projection episode, and somebody said to us, guys, at the end of this series, you're going to see Boba Fett ride a Rancor. You're going to see Boba Fett and Din Djarin fighting side by side in armor, taking on a clan of baddies. You're going to see Grogu stop a giant, stop a droid, an oversized droid army. And oh, by the way, what's his name? Sorry, Din. The duel you're gonna have a duel with Cad Bane, which we should talk about in a second. And Din Djarin is going to take on same said robots using the Darksaber. We all would have had our minds blown. So I still think this episode was epic. It's just that we've got these little distractions that are kind of taking us away from it, right?
Last thing I just want to say, and then we could talk about Cad Bane. We are pushing close to an hour. So I think had it been 5 episodes, because genuinely they could have told this story without the last 2 weeks ever happening.
Yeah.
Like Grogu, that stuff could have changed, but this could have been a 5 episode run. And I think given what we were given in the first 4 episodes, and then had it been followed up by this being the 5th episode, and that was the end of the season, I think I would have been far more happy with it. But with what came from these last 2 weeks, I had higher expectations, and it was hard to come back down to earth to what those first 4 episodes were versus, like I said, those 2 episodes are in my top 5 episodes of The Mandalorian. Like they were high level stuff. I don't think anything will ever replace how giddy I was last week with everything that we got. And that's where my expectation levels were. I'm not saying I needed to see Mace Windu but I wanted somebody behind the Pikes. I wanted the Pikes to actually earn being the villain, and it just didn't happen.
They didn't earn it. You're right.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about the duel. We had 2 scenes with Cad Bane and Boba Fett. One was a war of words, and where Cad tried to get a rise out of him by revealing who had actually killed the Tuskens. And then we had the actual duel. I really enjoyed both of these. I enjoyed seeing Cad use his flamethrower. I enjoyed seeing him being quick on the draw. I liked that there was the tension of their past relationship. I liked that in the end, Boba couldn't win the duel with speed, and even he knew that, but he did it the way that he was taught, and he broke out the gaffy stick, and that's how he drew him in, and then ended him with his Tusken weapon. I felt, I mean, other than the fact that it'd be great to see Cad Bane still alive in the Mandoverse, I was very happy with how this all played out.
I became more okay with it the more I watched it. The first time, I think my gut reaction was just wah 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 wah, and I just got him, and now he's dead. But that was selfish. I mean, here's the thing: this was, in many ways, it was the unpublished episode of Clone Wars fulfilled. We got the duel between the two of them, so it was completely resolved.
But we saw Cad Bane. He was much more capable than Boba was at their old age, which was interesting.
That's the other.
Oh yeah,
that's the other thing that was just so satisfying. The more I watched it, that you realized Boba wins, but Boba does it because he's smarter about the way that he fights. Cad Bane destroyed him in this duel. I mean, he didn't even draw. I mean, the other thing that I had a problem with was he took like that repeating blaster into a gunfight, into a quick draw. He didn't even barely raise the weapon, and he was already on the ground twice, which was weird. But
unless
I mean,
he did it on purpose.
Yeah, but well, that's a good point too. But when you see how good and proficient Cad Bane is, again, he didn't go out. Someone was like, "Oh, he went out like a punk." He didn't go out like a punk. He actually had a really good showing in this fight. If Cad Bane's gonna die, and here's why I was okay with it, and I am okay. I'm gonna be all right tomorrow. If Cad Bane's gonna die, he died at the hands of the right person in the Star Wars universe.
Correct.
That's who should end his life. By all means, that should be the only person that should end his life, and did. And so I'm okay with it. If I want to see the history of Cad Bane, I will always have the animated stuff that I can always go back. And this is a fitting end to a really storied Star Wars career.
Mike said it earlier. I hope that this was just a live action introduction for audiences to get familiar with it when he pops up somewhere in Andor.
I'd love to see him being, somebody who's getting hired by the Empire to try and hunt down people within the rebellion.
Or he's just a gun for hire and somebody's crossing lines within the rebellion trying to hire him too.
I love that too. I mean, it's very clear with Cashin that he is a very gray character.
And Cad will just go where he's getting paid.
Well, I mean, if that's what we get, then that's even better.
I'm not holding out hope, but
yeah. I mean, if we continue to get him in other projects, I'm all for that. He's one of the best characters that we've had in recent memory. I mean, he's really well done. And this episode 2 really, again, showed people why he is so despicable, and why the way he goaded Boba Fett, tried to get him to fight. He really pushed all of his buttons. Like, just really good acting, great voice acting too. Again, Cad Bane's just an awesome character.
Yeah.
I needed more of.
So what, real quick, guys, what about the ending? It felt like we had two endings here. We had the ending with Boba and Fennec and Chrysanthemum and the mods, and then we had our coda with Mando and Grogu. To me, the Mando Grogu thing was really exciting, and I love that Grogu is obsessed with hyperspace, and we had a great new GIF. On the other hand, I felt like it was the end of like a Friends episode, with the way that it was shot with Boba and his crew, and it like pulls back and they're like tossing the fruit around, and I just heard like dear near 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 near. Like, I didn't feel it as much. How did you guys feel about the ending?
If not us, then who, Mike? If not us, then who?
My apologies.
Apologies. It was okay. It wasn't the best. Again, it could have been better and darker, and have them pull back to realize it's like, we won the battle, but the war is far from over. That while I may temporarily rule Tatooine, the crime family is not eradicated. They will be back, and they'll be back with Crimson Dawn. But we didn't get that.
Well, especially with the other three. Like the other three, like traitorous families. Like, we're just gonna live in Mos Espa with the traitorous people. Like, I don't know. Like, if there wasn't a Melu run present, I would have been far more disappointed.
Yeah, I mean the second ending, or the the true ending, which was stay tuned, season 3 of The Mandalorian coming soon, which gets you excited. Again, a great animated GIF coming out of that.
Grogu tapping the glass. Just no. Like it's so good.
I mean, it was fun. It was fine, and it was fun. That's like I said, that's the gotta have more of it for me.
Yeah.
It left me not like a Friends episode, but Friends was great. Friends always wanted us watching the next week. I need to know if they never come back to Tatooine, I'm going to be really mad with that ending.
Well, the birth of Like It, Love It, Gotta Have It was Spider Sunday when we were talking about Spider-Man Far From Home. Yeah. You are defining this Gotta Have It extremely differently than you were after Spider-Man Far From Home.
I am. But I'm also doing that. And I know that I'm doing that. I'm also doing that because this is Star Wars. If it was something else, truth be told, it would be Love It. But the fact that it's Star Wars, I've got to have more of it. I need to know more of Boba Fett. I need to know more of what's going to happen with this story. So yes, I'm taking ownership of it.
Fair.
Could we talk about the Ranger of the New Republic, Mr. Monster himself? Because that's my prediction.
Cobb Vanth.
Ooh, me likey.
So, I mean, this isn't really us breaking news. Everyone knows that the actress Gina Carano has gotten into some hot water with her political statements with Lucasfilm. She's been exited. There was a reported reconciliation and her coming back in potential season 4 of The Mandalorian. And then there was another rumored falling out that she still cannot continue to, play nice in the sandbox. So I told Brian, this is what I think. Cobb Vanth is obviously alive. He's about to be modded. I think he is going to step into the role of Rangers of the New Republic. And I think they're going to redefine and rewrite that show for Cobb Vanth's character. Prediction.
Yes.
Book it.
Right. That I got to have more of. I didn't know what they were going to do with him, but if that's where it's going to go.
I think he's the Ranger of the New Republic, man. That's my prediction. I'm sticking by it.
Or he could just sell ice cubes on Tatooine, and it could be called Cobb Vanth Refrigeration.
I'll watch that. I'll watch
anything Timothy Olyphant's in.
Yeah.
You could have the book of Cobb Vanth paint drying. I'm down with that.
Suburban mom and dad becoming zombies and chopping up people needing them. Sure, give it to me. Who's in it? Timothy Olyphant. Oh, I'm in.
He's kind of pop up somewhere. I mean, Rangers of the New Republic, if it's truly not canceled, that makes a ton of sense. If you give me him and Paul Sun-Hyung Lee in the same show, like, I'm in.
I like it. Again, I have been off. I've been awake for a very long time today. Mike, apologies for derailing us multiple times.
No apologies necessary. This has been awesome. Thank you guys for staying up late. I know I have the benefit of 3 extra hours being on the West Coast, so I know it's been long days for all 3 of us. You guys are a little punchy, probably going to turn in soon. But thanks for hanging in late so that we could get together and do this. Thank you to everybody who's tuned in here live on the YouTubes. Again, if you're on the East Coast, we know this is a late viewing party. But if you like what you hear, have no fear. We'll be back in 2 weeks with another episode of Bobby's Frickin' Podcast. We'll pick an exciting topic, I'm sure, and we'll have a number of exciting topics between now and May the 25th when we get Sir Obi-Wan Kenobi and his triumphant return to the big/small screen. So, guys, anything else you want to leave our viewers with?
Nope. Kenobi, May 25th. Very excited. Should be May the 4th. But regardless, we're going to get Kenobi, and I'm very excited about it.
Yeah, thank you for hanging out with us through the Book of Boba Fett run. We'll see you guys in 2 weeks with a live stream on a Sunday night. Topic to be determined, but we love talking Star Wars. And I mean, it's always got to have more of it when it comes to the 3 of us. So thanks for hanging out with us. This was fun. I can't wait till we have more Star Wars to talk about.
Like a bantha. Thank you so much, everybody. Like, share, subscribe, get ready for more Babu's Frickin' Podcast, even now that the Book of Boba Fett is over. Gentlemen, until next time, may the Force be with you.
Always.